In this, we will discuss about decision making under organizational behavior. So first of all, we will discuss what exactly do we mean by decision making. Basically, decision making is the process by which an individual or a group select a course of action among various alternatives. Like so many alternatives are there, and the person just select a single and the best option. And this process basically involves evaluation, because after evaluation only you'll be able to select the best action. So choosing the option that is believed to best align with values, preference, and available resources and goal is known as decision making. Decision making is a vital skill for both individual as well as organization, because it determines outcome, because the quality of decision directly impact the success or the failure in personal or professional contest. It even influence relationship, like how decisions are made can affect how individual and group interact, collaborate, or conflict. It shapes success because effective decision making is crucial for achieving objective and driving growth in business and personal lives. It aims to understand how individuals make decisions and how uh, organization make decision, and even the ethical challenges involving in decision making ensures that choices for aligning with moral principle and organizational integrity. There are various types of decisions. So first we'll discuss about the routine decisions. So basically the routine decisions are need to be taken very frequent, like low stake decision made regularly with little thoughts and effort. Uh, I can give you an example, like deciding what to eat for lunch, or we can say choosing a daily route to work. So these are routine decisions, and this characteristics is basically very simple, or we can say repetitive. It requires minimal analysis. Then we have this strategic decision. So these are significant decisions that shape the long-term direction and success of an organization also. And like again, I will give you an example: a company deciding to expand into a new geographical markets. Okay, so it's high level decisions made by the top management, often with long term implication and strategic decisions. Now we will discuss operational decisions. These decisions are day-to-day decisions, but that are necessary for smooth functioning of routine business operation. Again, we will take an example like employee scheduling, managing production line, or we can say determining inventory levels. These are the example of operational decision. Its characteristics, we can say it focus on immediate issues that ensure efficient operation. Then we will discuss tactical decision. This decision helps implement strategy by translating long-term goals into practical and actionable steps. Like for example, we can say allocating budget resources to various departments, or creating a market plan to support strategic objective. There are some characteristics of tactical decision, and these are middle level decision often made by middle management, and bridging the gap between strategic goal and operational task. Now we will discuss about individual decision making. Individual decision making basically refers to the process by which a person evaluates, then it selects the best course of action from available option based on personal judgment, sometimes not exactly, sometimes many times experience and his values also. There are some steps involving in decision making. The first step is to identify the problem. In this, we can say it recognizes that a decision is needed. Okay, you have a problem or opportunity arise, you obviously you will take a decision. Then after, like suppose there is a problem, so you what you will do, if you identify the problem, now you will gather the information. So gather the information means collect all relevant facts, or you can say data, or irrespective or perspective, to understand the problem fully. After gathering the information, you will evaluate all the alternative. Is considered various options, weighing you will just see the pros and cons of all the alternative, and access how well each one will meet your goals or values. And after that, you will make the decision, as you will select the alternative that best align with your priorities and with your objective. After you have made the decision, what you will do, we will implement the decision. So action take on chosen option, carrying out the necessary steps to make it happen. Last but not the least, but the very important one, the evaluation of outcome. Access the result of your decision to determine if it met your expectation or objective, and learning from the experience for future decision. So that like after taking this particular decision also, you can take other decisions also. After this, we will discuss about cognitive bias. Cognitive bias is basically the tendency to seek information that suppose pre-exist belief and ignore opposing viewpoint. Like overconfidence is again the tendency to overestimate one's ability and or knowledge. There's some anchoring biases also, like relying too heavily on the first piece of information and encountering when making decision. The third one we will take, the factors which influence individual decision making is emotion is really important. Sometimes you have a gut feeling, so a strong emotion you can say. uh, and sometimes you can also say, we can take an example of a strong emotion is stress or excitement can cloud judgment, leading to impulsive or irrational decision. Example, making an emotional um, purchase decision like buying a car when feeling excited. You're suppose excited and you're like, fine, today I'll go and I'll purchase a car. Then we have social influences while making the decision, like peer pressure is there, family expectations, societal norms can always influence your decision. For example, choosing a career path based on what others expect or what society values. Not you won't take decision on what you like. So yeah, somehow your decision is being influenced by societal influences also. Then the last one is past experience, because from previous success or failure shape future decision making process. Again, I will give an example, like if you had a positive experience of investing in stock, so you may be more inclined to go on again in the future, because you had previously gained a lot of money and XYZ. And the cognitive biases in decision making. So confirmation bias. This we can say the tendency to seek out information that confirm exists belief while ignoring and contradictory evidence. If you believe like a certain brand is superior, you may only look for positive reviews while ignoring the negative ones. The overconfident bias, like overestimating one's ability, knowledge, or predictions. For example, like one person might believe that they can start a new business with little experience, assuming success without considering potential pitfalls. Anchoring bias. Anchoring bias means relying too heavily on the first piece of information, encountering the anchor even if it is irrelevant. Like a person may judge the value of an uh, item based on initial high price, and even if discounts are applied later. Then we have this availability of heuristic. It means like making decision based on readily available information or recent experience. Like after hearing about a plane crash, you may irrationally fear flying, because even thought sometimes you will be like, no, I better to take a train in spite of taking a flight. Decision making in organizations. So organization decision making refers to the process where groups, team, or leadership make choices that guide uh, an organizations towards achieving its goal. There are various levels of decision making. Like the first one is strategic decision. Strategic decision basically made by the top management focusing on long-term organizational goal. Then we have tactical decision made by middle level, or you can say mid-level, focusing on implementing the strategy. Then you have this operational decision making, like made on day-to-day basis to ensure the organizational daily runs operate smoothly. They first they have taken a long-term decision, then they have implementation is there, and if there's some change on the daily basis, the operational decisions are done. So then we will discuss about the decision making model. So first we have this rational model. This is basically a logical step-by-step approach where all information is gathered, alternatives are evaluated, and decisions are made based on objective criteria. Then you have this bounded rationality. It means like recognizing that decision makers have limitation we always say time or information, and often set for the good enough solution rather than the optimal one. Then the intuitive model, based on the gut feeling, experience a subconscious pattern of behavior. Sometimes gut feeling really helps you a lot. Suppose all the things they are telling you, no, fine, to go for this decision, but somehow you have this gut feeling, no, this is not going to work. So yeah, gut feeling sometimes helps while taking a decision. Group making decisions has some advantages like diverse perspective, group hiring, multiple viewpoint, enhancing creativity and better problem solving, and bias is reduced because group decision can help minimizing individual cognitive bias. There are some disadvantages also. The first one is it's time consuming, as reaching conscious or decision making as a group often takes longer than individual decision, because in individuals you have to take the decision, but in a group like so many people are there, they will take the decision, so obviously it's time taking. Group thinking, the tendency for the group members to prioritize senses over critical evaluation of alternative lead to poor decision and diffusion of responsibility. Individual in a group may feel less accountable for final decision. There are some people who will be like who can take decision better, but there are some people in group who are not good at taking decisions. So yes, suppose for example a marketing team decide on a new product launch may struggle with group thinking where members avoid voicing concerning to maintain harmony. Then we will discuss upon the leadership and decision making in organization. The first, what is the role of leader? Leader basically guides the decision making process. How? By setting clear objective and establishing priorities and ensuring that the decision align with organizational mission. The various types of styles. First we will discuss autocratic leaders. So who are autocratic leaders? Leaders make decision independently without consulting others. Then we have democratic leaders. Democratic leaders, what they will do? They will involve team members in decision making process. Then we have this laissez-faire leaders. They allow people to make decision with minimum interference. An effective leadership basically fosters collaboration. It even ensures concentration of the part of decision, and it even supports alignment with organizational value and goals. There are always ethics in decision making, and person should always put higher ethics while taking the decision, because in today's era ethics is taken a setback and people are becoming unethical. So yeah, ethics basically involve determining what is right, what is wrong while taking the decision, and if basically focusing on principle of fairness, honesty, integrity, and respect for others. Because ethics plays an important role while taking the decision. Because sometimes decision you want to take some decision, but that is unethical. So some people be like, fine, I'll take this unethical decision. How does it matter? uh, Unethical decision making frameworks. The first one we will discuss is utilitarianism, basically choosing action that result in the greatest good for the greatest number of people. This is utilitarianism. Then we will take deontological ethics, means following rules, duties, and obligations regardless of the consequences. This is also good, but yeah, sometimes rules are always need to be followed, but person should not be rigid. Okay. And virtue ethics, basically they focus on morale, characters, and decision maker, and whether their action align with the virtuous traits. It hardly matters, but they will prefer virtue. Now now we will discuss the ethical issue in individual decision making. So there are some moral dilemmas while taking decision making. These occur when an individual faces conflict between their choices with no clear right answer, such as dilemma is the past personal values and ethics. Now we will take some example also of moral dilemma. First one is reporting unethical behavior. Like for example, a colleague engaged in fraudulent activity, reporting them align with the honesty and integrity, but could harm workplace relationship also. So yeah, this is a dilemma situation. Or cutting corners, like deciding whether to meet a tight deadline by compromising on quality or skipping necessary step and doing so many harm the organizational reputation. There's some integrity. Personal integrity is basically the cornerstone of the ethical individual decision making. It involves various things like it upholds a core value like honesty, fairness, transparency. It also acts at consistency with one's moral principle even under pressure. Again, we can take an example like deciding a lucrative job offer. It if it requires unethical practice such as misleading clients. There are some ethical challenges in organizational decision making, and there are some key ethical challenges faced by organization. So first of all is CSR. CSR is also known as um, corporate social responsibility. It's like organizations are basically expected to go beyond profit making and act in a way that benefits society and environment. And the best example you can always go for Tata Enterprises, like implementing a program to reduce carbon emission even when it increase cost. Then we have this various conflict of interest which occurs when a personal interest interfere with professional responsibility, like a manager awarding a contract to a relative company instead of the most qualified bidder. This is a problem in various organization. Then we have the sustainability. Sustainability is basically balancing profitability with environmental and social consideration, and we can say like deciding whether to adopt a sustainable manufacturing practice that are more expensive but reduce environmental harm. Again, I will give an example like suppose an organization but decide whether to implement environmental friendly packaging knowing it will increase their cost, or ethical decision would prioritize long-term environmental sustainability over a short-term profit. There are various barriers to ethical decision making. These ethical decision making is often hindered by various obstacles. First is short-term focus, like organization may prioritize immediate financial gains over a long-term ethical consideration. So yeah, it is an problem. Example, we can say like cutting employee benefit to boost quarterly profit. Then the group thinking is also a barrier. Like suppose the desire for harmony within the group may suppress critical thinking and leading to unethical decision. uh, like a team agreeing on a questionable strategy to avoid conflict. There are some pressure to meet the target. Aggressive target or deadline can push individual to compromise ethics, like employee sometimes falsify sales report to meet quota. And awareness of lack of awareness. In this we can say that ethical implication of decision may go unnoticed due to inefficiency training or consideration, like for example manager unintentionally discriminating in hiring practice due to unconscious bias. Improving ethical decision making. To overcome these barriers, organization can always adopt a few strategy, like it encourage ethical leadership, because when leaders are ethical, so obviously these kind of problem would be there. Leaders should model ethical behavior and decision making based on integrity and accountability, like CEO openly addressing and correcting unethical practices within the company. Then we can say providing ethical training, like employee should be trained to recognize and address ethical dilemmas effectively, like a workshop on diversity, equity and inclusion, or to prevent unconscious biases. Foster an foster an ethical culture. Organizations should prioritize transparency, accountability and fairness in their operation, like creating an open door policy where employees feel comfortable reporting unethical behavior. Implementing ethical guidelines, establishing clear policies and codes of conduct ensures consistency in ethical decision making, like introducing a whistleblower policy on encouraging reporting of misconduct without fear of retaliation. Again, like we can take an example, like a company implement a whistleblower policy to promote transparency and accountability, ensuring employee feel safe reporting unethical practices. Finally, I would like to conclude that decision making is fundamental process and basically influenced by personal values, cognitive bias, and organizational dynamics. And there are some um, key takeaways also to make effective and ethical decision, like to understand the decision making process, recognize and addresses cognitive bias, and use ethical framework to evaluate choices, and it even foster an organizational culture and integrity, accountability. Finally, the final thought about decision making and ethical practice is that the best decisions are those that balance rational analysis with ethical responsibility. That's it. Thank you.